Welcome back to Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we break down movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time. I'm Jack.
Brian.
I'm Travis from Real Comic Heroes and Watchmen Minute.
And this week we are breaking down minute number 49 of Clint Eastwood's Heartbreak Ridge. The minute begins with Gunny Highway helping Forgetti with his weapon, and the minute ends with Gunny having a quaint little discussion with Jones about his piece of hardware. So anyway, how you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So Travis, since we haven't kind of touched on this, how familiar are you with this movie overall?
If you had asked me, before I watched it a couple days ago, my only memory of this movie was Clint Eastwood tearing the what I remembered as being a nipple ring out of Jones, but I think I was mixing that up with Wayne's World 2, maybe. But so I remembered, Clint Eastwood ripping the earring, I guess, out of Jones here, and that's about the only thing that stuck out to me. My dad watched this movie a lot. Like, this was his kind of one of his go-to Sunday, middle of the day movies.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, so I would watch it with him, bits and pieces of it. So some of it was familiar, but most of it was pretty new for me. This came out in '86, right? So
Yeah,
I was born in '83, so this was, just a movie that I kind of grew up with, but then have not thought about since maybe, like, I don't know, 1993,
right.
So
It used to be on TV a lot more regular than it is now. Because it seems like TNT would always put like a war movie on or something like, or
mhm,
TBS, like you said, on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Definitely on HBO, it was on all the time.
yeah.
But it's not one that I just will be flipping through and see on the TV as much as it used to be. But yeah, I grew up with this movie. Now you were
Mhm,
actually born the year that this movie takes place because
right.
filmed it. We always say that filmed in '86. Takes place in '83. So we always kind of have that color
Yeah.
our observations. Yeah, we definitely. This is another one like I had explained previously that my dad introduced this movie to me as well. He invited my uncle over to watch it because my father had seen it in the theater and loved it so much that he found some place that rented it, and when came out, and my he had my uncle over and they were watching it, and I was kind of trying to peek in and watch as much as I could.
Yeah.
So
Definitely, as a kid, did not understand most of this movie or what it was really about, and so it was interesting watching it with fresh eyes, with adult eyes this time.
I had watched it so much as a teenager, it kind of had colored some of my decision to join the Marine Corps,
Mm,
knowing full well that this is not an accurate movie at all.
right.
It wasn't until that we were older that discovered that actually a lot of these stuff that's observed in this movie or portrayed in this movie is actually uh, the army did a lot of this stuff.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, okay, that's we joke with a buddy I work with who was in the army that this movie is a bunch of stolen valor.
Okay.
But as far as the minute, we get Lance Corporal Forgetti just blasting away on the rifle range. He is definitely not observing the one shot, one kill mantra that the Marine Corps does. He's just, if he could have put it on auto, he'd have it on auto. Of course, Gunny last minute, he smacked him.
Yeah, he's like, hey.
And he said, "Hey, while you're blasting away all your ammo, Mister I Hate American is it's going to make you full of Swiss cheese," which I think is a great line. Like
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood has a ton of great lines in
he
this movie.
does, yeah. He greets everybody with some kinda euphemism or some saying, it's funny.
Yeah, these next few minutes, he's got a lot of little one-liners because
Yeah. I just noticed at the very start of this minute, the guy that's, he's kinda loading his rifle next to Forgetti,
yeah,
um, drops his clip
oh yeah,
as he's loading it. I didn't notice that until just now.
oh yeah. I mean, it even started last minute. The guy next to him is profile.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's already got a little bit of business going on with his rifle, and it's just kind
Okay.
of setting up, the next little bit with him.
I was thinking that Profile was on this side of Jones, but
I think because later we'll see he walks up to him.
okay,
So like,
that
and I
makes sense.
never, this is one of the great things with doing it by minute is there's a lot of little things that we've noticed in the background, and that was
hmm
another one where he's checking. What was he doing, Perry? Last minute, he was looking down the barrel or trying to.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
That
He was
doesn't surprise me.
checking the chamber. Yeah, he had
Yeah,
the weapon. And he was checking the chamber, but then he put another magazine in, and he pulled the charging handle just a second ago, and he's looking down the. So yeah, so he's having some kind of an issue with his rifle.
Well, that's cool that there's some consistency with what comes up next minute. So that's cool that they did this, and it wasn't just an actor's mistake of
Yeah,
trying to load his weapon.
right. He's got a little bit of business going on this whole
Yeah.
whole time, and we've noticed little things like that here and there where we're thinking, oh, this is just. Was this coincidence? But no, like they're setting things up in the background if you pay attention, and it's like,
yeah,
but you're so focused. For me, I'm always so focused on the dialogue and the two guys in the foreground that a lot of times I've never noticed that before. I think the part though when Frigetti is blaming the weapon for why he can't shoot right, he's like, "Yeah, the fuck." It's I will say it's the most honest line of dialogue in this entire movie because he drops about 4 f bombs in a
Yeah.
row. The fucking weapon's fucking fucked up.
I like that. It's a nice
Dude,
string. It is four. I counted them,
yeah.
wrote them out.
Yeah, and that is exactly. I mean, I still talk that way, honestly.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's just the way a Marine talks. I noticed that Profile too put his magazine in, pulled the charging handle back, flipped his weapon on its side, and tried to shake her round out. This he's an idiot.
Yeah.
You don't. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, but I just like you said, that line of dialogue is just perfect. Gunny takes the weapon from him, shoots 3 shots center mass.
Standing.
Yeah, just doesn't. You know what I noticed though? He doesn't snap in. He doesn't change the windage. None of
Nope.
that. He doesn't do any clicks on the rifle.
He just pops them.
And boom, he gets them. Up come the butts. Now, last minute, Perry and I did a little tease of sexy pulling butts, and where we were saying pulling butts, and it's not as sexy as it sounds.
No, it sucks.
So, Perry, why don't you explain to everybody what pulling butts actually means?
So, the Marines is a pretty low tech operation in a lot of ways. So, when you go to the rifle range, if you've got 20 guys, 10 guys will fire, and the other 10 are going to go all the way down to the other end where the targets pop up and down, and they'll get down in this trench and they'll load these big. I don't know if they're even canvas, but they're big boards basically that they mount on a set of rails, and you sit down there, and then they'll basically wait for a round to hit, and then they'll pull it down, take these little markers, find out where where the round penetrated the target, mark it, and send it back up. They have little flags and things that they can stick up over the targets. So yeah, so they'll have targets that, like, if you get what's called a possible, which is all rounds in the black, or things like that. So there's ways that they can let you know for scoring how your shooting was. But yeah, so it sucks because you're, at least when you're shooting, and you're doing something. When you're butts, you're just waiting, doing stuff, waiting, doing stuff, waiting. It just it's miserable. That's what one thing about going to the range that I always hated was pulling butts.
I was curious about when they have the close up of the targets and you see the little pieces of tape or whatever they're covering previous holes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was curious if that was I guess real or not. Like
Oh,
just
yeah,
the
it's real.
idea of reusing these targets, so many
Exactly.
times. Okay,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure if the if the Marines were as frugal as
Yes.
this would
No, cheap. We have no
Okay.
money.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we're low tech.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool though.
It's beyond this how cheap they are.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they'll give you a strip of tape, right? So
It's
little.
basically pasties.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they call them. Yeah, and
Nice.
sometimes they'll give you a sheet, and you have to peel your own pasties. They have to last you the entire day, so you actually have to
Okay.
peel the square, and so basically you just white goes over white areas, black goes over black areas,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then you have a bunch of little markers that have they look like discs with little spindles in them. They just stick them in the hole.
So just so you can see where you because you have to do your adjustments to your weapon, and you
Yep.
have a little firing book that you observe and kind of make your adjustments as needed, so that you're getting everything as close, a nice tight shot group. Because if you're
Yep.
getting consistently shooting, let's say in the upper right, you would just click over, you'd adjust your windage, click whatever your sights, and then hopefully now you're shooting all your shots center mass. Gunny just did it willy nilly. He just it's just how good he is.
Yeah.
But this movie, they filmed it on Camp Pendleton in association with the Marine Corps. Everybody in Recon Platoon who's not an actor, like the main 5 or 6 actors that are in Recon, everybody else is a real Marine from that unit.
Okay.
And so in all likelihood, they had real Marines pulling the butts for anybody if they were really firing, which I would have to believe that most of them are because, again, you have the actors, but they may have been really firing out there on the range, although we're not
Yeah.
sure because we noticed there wasn't a lot of range officers.
Yeah.
So we're not sure they could have been blanks, but that is exactly how they would have pulled the butts, and they probably had real Marines down there doing a duty for this movie, doing that, and they did it as is.
Yeah, I noticed a conspicuous lack too of range books.
Yeah, none of them are kind of adjusting or marking because they clearly only went to the range for one day. We don't see them go back.
Yeah.
They're in infantry unit. We were not infantry, so we can't speak for how they would have done their training, especially in the 80s. But when we went to the rifle range, it was for a full week.
Yeah.
So you're out there practicing all day long just so you can qualify on Friday. So one thing I noted about these weapons, though, a lot of these weapons, according to the Internet Firearm Database, in this scene are actually AR-15s.
Really?
They're supposed to, although Profile may have had an
A1?
an A1, yeah, an M16A1, because the M16A2 that we had only just come out when this movie would have taken place or been filmed. I think it was 1983 is actually when the Marine Corps adopted them, and they were the ones that first asked for the upgrade to the M16 because one of the bad things about the M16 was it had a full auto
Yeah.
option, and that's not the best use of ammunition.
Mm.
What they did is they changed I think the biggest change was the grips,
Yeah.
it did something with the firing rate, so it would jam less, and it would not overheat as much, so it could fire more. But they changed it it went from a safety, a 1 round shot, a semi-auto, and then a 3 round burst as opposed to a full automatic
Yeah.
because people would just spray and pray and spray,
Yeah.
and that's not good. And of course,
Not
the Marine
ideal.
Corps, they've always used the one shot, one kill mantra of slow down, make every shot count, pull the trigger one time should equal one kill. You should not just be holding down and just
Yeah.
wasting,
Indiscriminately spraying.
which gets to a gunny's observation of, hey, while you're blowing away all your ammo, you're getting turned into Swiss cheese.
So when Gunny grabs the rifle from Brigetti, is that I mean that M16 is a distinct weapon. Is that the handle that he's grabbing? Is that what its purpose is on top of the
E-
rifle there?
yes and no.
Okay.
So yes, it is a handle, but it's also part of the sight
Okay.
aperture. It's
Okay.
where that's how you sight down the weapon.
I wasn't
But yeah,
sure if the sight was incorporated into it or if
yeah,
because
on the
it
very back of it, there's a
yeah.
there's a little ring that flips up.
Okay.
And you can see Jones when he walks over to Jones, he's kind of got his eye right at that handle level
Mhm.
at the back, and you can kind of see that's how he's sighting it in. And yeah, you're supposed to get the little circle from the handle lined up with there's a little like peg at the end
Yep.
of the
Front
sights.
sight tip.
Yeah, exactly. See, Perry remembers all this stuff a lot better than I do.
Well, you also notice too, if on the handle, if you look real close, there's also a hole where the quote unquote the handle. You can mount optics and things to it.
Okay.
You could, but they didn't because they were expensive and
Cheap.
that's why you teach you how to shoot at 500 or is
Right.
it 500 meters?
500, yeah. Every Marine's a rifleman, but not every Marine gets all the cool fancy stuff.
Right.
No.
Before we get into Jones and Gunny talking, there's a guy we've noticed him in the background. He was the driver for Major Powers, and he's just hanging out, leaning against a truck.
Okay.
I think he kicks the dirt a couple times, and I was joking last minute that's been me in real life, just driving the colonel around, just sitting there waiting for him to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get right to Gunny and Stitch having a conversation about his piece of equipment, as Perry said, his hardware on his head, his piss pot, if you will. He's not wearing the Kevlar helmet that he was issued. He's wearing a classic piece of equipment. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that for it was his recon way of saying hello and inevitably goodbye.
I like that line. That's,
Yeah. And goodbye.
yeah.
Stitch, I mean, Clint Eastwood in this movie has great one-liners, as we've already stated, but Stitch
Mhm.
Jones has got a few of his own as well.
Yeah. I love on the when they first meet on the bus and Stitch has just been, rattling off, wouldn't stop talking, and then finally says, "Now, if says to Gunny, like, if you wouldn't mind being quiet while I
Yeah.
get some beauty sleep."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's his character, like the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
movie.
Oblivious to
Mhm.
reality.
Well, he's a fast talker for sure, and
Yeah.
I think he thinks he's smoother than he really is. But
Mhm.
but we've joked that this whole movie is like the Gunny and Stitch roadshow. Like they
Oh, yeah.
just their interactions are great. Especially this one where he was talking about, that wouldn't have happened to make its way to a local pawn shop, which is true. Like that, that is, I mean, people do that stuff. I mean, that's why
Mhm.
it's in here. I do like that he called out the classic, well, he says the Sands of Iwo Jima, which is obviously Iwo Jima is a World War II battle where they raised the flag on Mount Suribachi, the classic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the movie is Sands of Iwo Jima with John Wayne, and that they used to tease us and joke with us all the time. They're like, "You're not John Wayne. You tighten up that chin strap. You don't. You
Yeah.
see." And if you notice, everybody else does have the Kevlar. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's grossly out of place.
Which I did read that, in '83, when this would take place, Stitch is actually wearing the period appropriate helmet, like, it wouldn't be standard issue for them to all have the newer Kevlar helmets until '86, which is when they were filming.
Look at you doing research. I don't even do
Yeah.
research, and I'm in this podcast. What the hell? He is interviewing for my replacement. God damn it.
Yeah, well, that's not a hard interview.
You got the job, Perry. You're out.
Yeah, I'd actually I noticed something like something similar as well, and that's the thing with the military thing. And that's why I was saying like with about the M16s, they may have adopted it at a certain time, but it takes a while to
Yeah.
get the new equipment out to everybody.
Yeah.
Usually, there's a phased approach as well. The units that will probably need it the most are going to get it first, and there's only so much. Like they changed our combat boots at one point, and they were much nicer. And they did, I think they did. Sometimes they make you pay for that stuff yourself.
Yeah, if you want them early.
In this case, though, I think for us, they gave us these new, leather boots, and they were really nice.
The Danners.
Yeah, they did give them, but we had to go check them out and go get them issued. But not everybody went and got them at the same time.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's I think all the notes I have for this minute. Do you guys have anything else you want to cover in this before we wrap it up?
No, I think we pretty much got it all covered up.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right. Well, just thank everybody for joining us this Monday. we ask that you come back next time for minute 50. And sometimes I try to come up with something clever to say, and sometimes I don't.
And most time it's no good.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just our way of saying, welcome to Recon and goodbye.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. There we got our ending. Now you're going to get replaced, Billy.
Right. Yeah, tune in next minute where it's just Travis hosting the whole thing by himself.
And welcome back to the Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we break down movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time. This week we are breaking down minute number 49 from Heartbreak Ridge. I'm Jack.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Travis Bowe from Real Comic Heroes and Watchmen Minute.
And welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So this minute we start with, we've kind of nicknamed the profile trilogy. We've got the Marines are on the range firing their weapons. Gunny opens up with a discussion about how Spaghetti's rifle isn't broken, and the minute ends with poor profile running laps around his squad on the return back to the barracks. So,
well, actually, that's the next minute.
Oh,
I told you we fly by the seat of our pants.
no, profile's running.
No, this one 49 starts with the.
Oh, am I got the wrong
rifle,
minute up?
Rifle range.
Yeah,
is this the wrong fucking minute?
No, you got the opening correct. I told you we fly by the seat of our pants.
No worries.
See, you went straight to the end of the profile trilogy. This minute ends with Gunny discussing the piss pot on.
Oh, I do have the wrong minute up. Wah, wah. Motherfucker. It said 49.
Oh, and we don't edit most of our mistakes out, so we just kind of roll with it.
Something's wrong. The minute that I have is 49.
Right. Remember, I sent it to you as 49, but it'll say
it says 48.
Yeah, the label will be 48.
Yeah, so that's the one I'm watching right now. It starts off with Spaghetti.
Right, you're right. I don't change them for you. I change them for other people. Okay.
Oh, it is a different minute, but for whatever reason, the one that I've been opening was motherfucker.
All right, let's
Can I get a mulligan?
Yeah, do it real quick, and then
okay, hold on. All right. Yeah, minute 48. Yeah, because I had all of our minutes up on one little thing here. And for whatever reason, the one I kept clicking was the one that kept coming up. But yeah, that's the one that I'm seeing right now. That's what I thought this one was it started with Spaghetti, but then they had profile running, and I was like, all right. Anyway.
So you just wanted to get to the whole trilogy.